It's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of parshat Nitzavim Va-yelekh. It's your life. At the end of the parsha, it says, look, I've given you chayim v'mavet. Chayim et hatov, et hamavet v'et hara. I've given you life and the good. I've given you death and the bad. What does that mean? Also, later in the parsha, it says, Ki hu chayecha v'orech hamecha. It is your life. What is your life? What exactly is your life? So in order to understand this of what is chayim, what is life, so one of the rabbi, interesting student of Rav Sabato in Israel, has a nice sefer. His name is Shalom Eldar. He came out with an interesting sefer, and he pointed out that the Rambam and the Ravid have an interesting debate, and it relates to Rosh Hashanah, and it comes back to our question. The Gemara says that, and the Rambam codifies it, that if someone has more sins than merits, everybody knows this, what happens? Immediately you die from your sinfulness. Comes the Ravid and says, are you kidding? He says there are plenty of wicked people who are living. I mean, every year, every wicked person is gonna drop dead after Rosh Hashanah or sometime during that year. It doesn't happen that way. Wicked people often live normal lives, or they live many years. So what does that mean? That they're written for life. So the Rambam says. So the Ravid says that it depends what you were supposed to live. Let's say you were supposed to live 90 years, so you had a bad year. So instead of living 90, you're going to live 70. That's one possibility. But the Rambam also writes elsewhere that in the Mor Nevuchim, in the Guide to Perplex, that the idea of chayim is actually something else. He says chayim is really wisdom. After all, it says in Mishlei and Proverbs over and again, it says chayim heim l'motzeim. It is life for anyone who finds wisdom. Vayu chayim l'nafshecha. That the wisdom will be life for your soul. Motzi'i ki motzi'i motza chayim. Anybody who finds me, namely wisdom, found life. Chayim heim l'motzeim. They are life for anyone who finds them. So we have numerous verses, says the Rambam, that tell us that real life is wisdom. Through wisdom, you have life. Therefore, the Rambam explains an interesting halacha that he says, Talmid Chacham, Talmid Shenigla Alari Miklat Megalim Rabo Imo. If you have a student and he killed someone by mistake, he didn't mean to. His axe broke and the axe went flying, it killed somebody. So he has to go to the Ir Miklat, to the city of refuge. Yeah, but his Rebbe doesn't live here. He's learning Torah from this particular Rebbe. So then the Rebbe has to come with him to that town. Why? Because Hu Yanush Al Arima El Vachai. He should go to that city and live. He's not supposed to die in that city. He's supposed to live there. And if you're a person of Torah and you're seeking Torah and you don't have any learning, it's as if it's like death. So as the Rambam says, and he even codifies it in law, that life is learning. Life is wisdom. So similarly, the Sforno, who in a book called the Shiurei Sforno, it's a new, recently came out, the Sforno's deeper interpretation, more philosophical interpretations on the Chumash. He says that the clinging to God, that is your life. He says that he says life is emes and sheker is equal to life and death. Emes, truth, is life, and death is falsehood. So when it says that he's giving you life, it doesn't mean like Rashi says, if you choose the Torah, then you get life. I'm going to give you all kinds of good things. Many of the commentaries, I think, Rabbi Yosef B'chor Shor, he says, well, it says over and again in the Torah that if you choose the Torah, then you get wealth and children and all kinds of things. So he says, I'm giving you opportunity of life and goodness. But no, says the Shiurei Sforno, this new book of the Sforno, he says, I give you emes, I give you a choice between emes and sheker, truth and falsehood. Or the Sforno himself, when it's in the Torah says, Heim chayenu, you know what is our life? Our life is the derech hachaim, the clinging to God. That is our life. When the Torah says, it is your life, what is life? To cling to God. David Tzvi Hafen says, the derech hachaim, the way of the Torah, that's life. Whereas the Targum Yushalmi, the Aramaic translation on the Torah says, derech hachaim hi derech hatova. The way of life. It's not that God gives you life, He's giving you a blessing till you'll live. No, He's giving you a way of life. That's what's most important here. There are other interpretations of this. The Sforno says, I'm giving you life, I'm giving you eternal life. If you follow the Torah, you get to have eternal life. The Sforno is very into the idea of the Hasharat HaNeshama, that the soul going on and living on. So he says, I'm giving you life. If you follow the Torah, you will live forever because your soul will live on forever through the world to come. These are the different options. The Reb David Tzvi Hafen also says that the way of the Torah, that is your life. The way of the Torah. That our life is the way of the Torah. Our lifestyle is our life. That is our life. However, the Ibn Ezra says, no, the Torah is your life. And that's what we say every day. Every day in our davening at Ma'ariv, the evening service, before we say the Shema, talk about the Torah, we say, Ki heim chayenu v'orachamenu. We're interpreting this pasuk. The pasuk says, it is your life, in singular. Ki chayecha v'orachamecha. It is your life in the length of your days. What is your life? So some people think it's the Torah. As the Ibn Ezra says, the call, the voice of God is your life. So the Torah is your life. The Gemara in Kedushin says engagement of Torah. That is your life. Maybe Ibn Ezra might even say that God Himself is your life. But in the davening, in the Ma'ariv, we assert Ki heim chayenu v'orachamenu, the Torah, studying Torah, as we do when we read the Shema and when we get deeper into Torah, that is your life. So when we say that we have a choice between life and death, it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes a person could choose Torah and they don't live a long life. But the Sforno would say, yeah, but you'll live in the world to come, you live forever. Sometimes a person follows Torah, but he doesn't have a long life. But we say, yeah, but that life contained the way of the Torah, and the way of the Torah, that's an incredible thing to get. That's a great gift. Yeah, maybe somebody didn't live a great physical life, but guess what? He had emet, he had truth, he's connected to truth. So the notion of life, it is your life. The clinging to God, God Himself is your life, Torah is your life. And what is life? Life ultimately is a life of Torah, a life of truth, a life of clinging to the way of God. This ultimately is life. And what we're implying is that short of that is not life. It's not life. It may be breathing. Many creatures on the earth, they live a nice life. A giraffe has a nice life, walks around and he eats the trees, and everything's very nice. They have children and it's very happy. But that's not, to us, that's not human life. Human life is connection to chachma, to wisdom, to doing and making and creating and having connection with God, connection with Torah, connection with life, and connection with great things. When we're hoping this year to be written, Ksiva Torah, to be written in the book of life, we have to think about that as well. Not just eternal life, not just life of good things, and hopefully God will bless us with good stuff, but also, will we have real life? Will the life be connected to God, to Torah, to the way of God, the way of the Torah, and ultimately to chachma, to wisdom, to emes, to truth? And if not, then it's equivalent, the Rambam might argue, to be written for death, God forbid. Let's hope we're all written for life. Keep learning, keep studying, and keep clinging to the Torah and to God. And with that, Mr. Hashem will have a Shnas Chayim B'Shalom, will indeed have a year filled with life. Thank you for joining us here at the Baron Hirsch Congregation. Join us each week for a discussion of the parsha and the various holidays. And thanks to Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein.